You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans, as 2025 draws to a close, we want to look at some of the messiest couples of the year. Some really bad romances that we saw this year. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to count down from the number 5 bad romance all the way to number 1, the very worst pairing of the year on the Peacock soap. We have lots to unpack, so hit subscribe if you're not following us. All right, the couple that ranked as number 5 on our bad romance list of 2025 is Jada Hunter and Rafe Hernandez. I mean, we knew Jada and Rafe were doomed because that poor man cannot keep a long-term relationship, usually through no fault of his own. You know, he is smart, he's hunky, he's handsome, never works out for him. Jada and Rafe found love at work and things were great for a while, even though, of course, she got his job. But when Arnold Feniger strolled back into Salem to blackmail EJ after years of being presumed dead, everything went off the rail for Jada and Rafe. Arnold took Rafe's place while EJ held Rafe captive. Long story short, Arnold pretended to be Rafe and he broke Jada's heart and he almost got her fired as part of his plotting with EJ. But even after Rafe was rescued, it was too late. The damage was done, and it didn't help that in the interim, Jada slept with Sean Brady, and she had to confess that. Rafe forgave Jada, but then she found out Rafe slept with his ex-wife, Sammy Brady, and so they just couldn't move past their mutual infidelities. Rafe tried again with Sammy off screen, but it fizzled, and Jada's out there right now looking for love. All right, the next bad romance, number 4 on our list, is a pairing that involves Brady Black. And I mean, the man's got a taste for toxic women, and he has so many bad romances in his past. And another bad girl he got involved with, even though she was semi-redeemed, was Ava Vitali. Now, she and Brady started up in 2024, but it lasted and carried over into 2025. So that's why we're including it on this year. So their relationship began on a platonic note in late 2024. They were unlikely allies against hillbilly criminal Clyde Weston. And then sparks began flying for Ava and Brady, and that was fine, but then they had a heck of a time going on a real date or even exploring that because of Brady's toxic daughter, Rachel, and her nonstop pranks. But in early 2025, the romance between Ava and Brady finally blossomed. Ava and Brady finally got intimate, and they both declared mutual feelings for each other. However, Rachel, as we know, never ever stops meddling, and she started harassing Ava with these really terrible texts. And eventually, Rachel lured Ava out to Aramid. And that was where Rachel and her crazy namesake, Grandma Rachel Blake, actually held Ava captive. And Brady thought Ava left town to see her son Trip in Africa. So later, Steve and Brady figured out that she didn't go to the other continent, and they found Ava in Aramid. But with Rachel being so psycho, Ava just decided, you know what, I got to walk away. And she decided that Brady and the romance with him was just toxic because of his toxic little daughter, which is quite accurate. It was a bad romance. Next on our list, the number 3 terrible romance of 2025, EJ DiMera and Belle Black. Now, I actually like them together, but it turned out really bad. They had a one-night stand, if you remember, back in 2022, but then Martha Madison was part of that mass upheaval where they took out a whole bunch of the actresses on days, and she got severely backburnered and she decided to walk away. So fast forward, the bad producer was gone. A lot of women came back. So New Year's Eve 2024, we had EJ inviting Belle to be his date for a DiMera New Year's party. Then in early 2025, after EJ drove Belle home from Jada's bachelorette party, their chemistry reignited. EJ and Belle did keep their relationship secret at first, even when they started hitting the sheets, but EJ's shady dealings had Belle taking a step back. It was like one step forward, one step back. And then EJ got shot and he was in a coma. He was fighting for his life. And that's when Belle finally confessed and told EJ she loved him while he was in a coma. But his mom, Susan Banks, overheard Belle and encouraged her to tell EJ that she loved him once he woke up. But Belle's sister, Sammy, also overheard and, of course, was very nasty to Belle about getting with EJ. Belle and EJ both admitted they'd fallen in love and they took their romance public. But then when Johnny was on trial for shooting him, EJ tried to use their relationship as a tactic to get a mistrial by accusing Belle of bias because she was involved with him. And so she dumped EJ on the spot right there in court, and it didn't help Johnny at all. A very toxic ending to a very awkward romance. All right, the second to last on our list, the second worst romance of 2025, Chad DiMera and Cat Greene. After Chad forgave Cat for posing as his dead wife, Abigail Devereaux, he and Cat became friends, but she already had feelings for Chad. She was getting feelings all the while she was conning him, and he grew feelings too, but Chad really tried to fight them. And then Cat and Chad finally got intimate, and almost immediately, tween terror Rachel told her cousin Thomas DiMera that she'd seen Chad kissing Cat, and Rachel also told Thomas that Cat had been pretending to be his dead mom, Abby. And Thomas freaked out, and so did Jennifer Horton, who despises Cat for pretending to be Abby. So Chad was pressured, and he called things off with Cat because of his family. And basically her Abby scheme was a deal breaker for the Hortons, and she and Chad can't overcome these obstacles. I still think Cat and Chad may have some potential, but right now things are too toxic between them, with Thomas running into traffic and Jennifer ready to take custody of Chad's kids. Plus Cat is being drawn to EJ. So it looks like her bad romance with Chad is done, at least for now. And finally, our number one worst couple of 2025 on Days of Our Lives was one that didn't last long, but it was truly awful, and the ripple effects of their pairing are still happening. We're talking about Sophia Choi and Tate Black. She had been crushing on Tate for a while, but he was crushing on Holly. And then Sophia jumped at the chance to jump into bed with Tate, and she got pregnant. That led to Sophia giving birth alone, dumping the baby at the fire station, and falsifying an adoption. And Tate was so tormented by her lies and lack of closure on the baby that it was causing a lot of problems in his life. And then he found out that Sophia didn't even realize that he might not be the dad, because it turned out it was Aaron Green who was the father. He had a thing for Sophia, and they had a Netflix and chill day watching that soap opera the one day, and apparently they weren't very careful. So Sophia was desperate to keep Tate away from Holly, and she caused all that trouble for them, even up until a couple of weeks ago when Sophia took those naughty pictures of Holly and texted them to Johnny, and then she sent DFAX that letter saying he was sleeping with his student Holly. This romance was toxic because Tate never really wanted to be with Sophia, but she lured him when he was at a low point, got him into bed. Tate never loved Sophia. He didn't really ever like her as more than a friend, but she was obsessed with Tate, and that's why she's in Bayview now. And I don't know if her troublemaking is done. Drop your comments on who you think are the worst couples of 2025 on Days.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.